people still hear me?
All good.
All right. Okay, I'll carry on. Let's restart. Sorry, so Waima to Laingholm Pest Free. So we're a non-profit community group looking at the eradication of pests in our local area. So we initially started with just Tim's traps, so those type of pests, possums, and have latterly moved into rats with using D-rat traps, and more recently we've started doing bait stations as well. We're a pest-free group, and in that way we're not, so we are focused at the moment on pest control in terms of animals, but the idea would be to also get into weeds and other types of things in the future. So our area, it's roughly 1,200 hectares. Recently we incorporated a little bit of parao into the group because there's some people wanting to do some things over there. 65% of it is private land, so that's the yellowish areas on the screen there. The other colour is public land, and as it happens, our sort of natural boundary to the north and to the west is public land, so it forms a natural boundary. And we're quite lucky on our eastern boundary to have the South Titirangi neighbourhood network, and we know that they're quite active on that boundary. We've got around about 150 members as far as I can work out that belong to our group, and within that we have around about 400 traps out there, and it's pretty even split between private land and what we have on public land. On the public land, the aim was to build a boundary fence in effect between the other areas, and also in places like Manchester Unity Block and things like that is to establish larger scale pest control. So to date we have put trap lines out in Bishop's Bush, which is up in the northeast, Exhibition Drive along our western boundary, then down along Huia Road, and we also have some activity in Little Muddy Creek, and that's through Megan Fitter with her group, and I think there's some cooperation with the South Titirangi network as well. We have plans to get into the Manchester Unity Block as well, so we have a group of people interested in doing that, and we are looking at getting something underway there. So that's the public lines. Our results to date, this is a dashboard. So that's part of our group is obviously we are putting out devices, pest control devices. We're really keen to get information back on what we catch from people, and that's from private landowners, private individuals, as well as our public lines. So we've been pretty encouraged or discouraged by the large number of counts that we've got back, and I guess in particular we've only more recently got into things like rats, but we've got some very high numbers on our public lines from that. what's not shown on this dashboard is other pests like mice. So we also capture those sort of pests, but they're not counted at the moment in this display. We have the data. What it does highlight is that we have pretty good activity with our public land trap lines, but we don't get the same amount of information back from private land, even though that there's the same, we know that there's the same level of traps out there, and anecdotally we know that they must be catching the same number of pests, so we're not sort of potentially closing the loop in terms of getting that information back from people. So our successes today are really probably the rolling out of traps and devices along public land, and also more recently we've managed to engage more people and becoming involved to help us, because it is really reliant on people helping. With our trap lines, I'll go back, along Exhibition Drive and Huia Road, those two trap lines, those traps are funded by Watercare. So that's Watercare land that we're operating those traps on, and they've supplied those traps to us, and we are in constant communication with them to encourage them to supply more devices. So the challenges that we have is time. We're all volunteers, and there's limits to what you can do for free. So some of the activities have flowed over time because we just haven't had people to push things forward. Communications is a big factor with the group. With the public or with private landowners, there's lots and lots of people to try and communicate with. We want to get that data back from them in terms of the things that they're doing. So that's a pretty major challenge in terms of efficiently communicating with people. We don't have, we have a lot of people that have previously expressed interest in being involved and things like that, and just through our inability to communicate efficiently, we've sort of potentially lost people's assistance. Funding, obviously you need money to do this sort of thing. Data, so like I said, we capture the data, we capture the information from what we catch, and we put it in a doc application called Walk the Line, and understanding that data, getting a better appreciation of that data and that information to inform our choices going forward would be really sort of useful. And then the other challenges is around just management. So again, I guess it goes a bit back to time, but you know, you've got to have someone manage finances, assets. We've got 400 odd devices out there. It's sort of they're going to fail, they're going to break, they're going to need servicing, or people are going to have questions of them. They're going to have them lost or stolen, and it's all of those type of things. It's really running a business as such. And I think that was it.
Thank you so much, Jason.